Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, AJ Lee is coming back to wrestling for the first time in 6 years.
I'll tell you what Tony Khan's big announcement was on last night's AEW Dynamite.
Hangman Page is back in AEW and he's already got a world title shot.
And Bobby Fish is all elite. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
It's also a very complicated setup that I haven't quite gotten used to yet, but we're going to work through it. AJ Lee coming back to pro wrestling.
Yes!
No indication that she's going to be hitting the ring or competing or anything like that as of yet, but it was confirmed last night that she is returning to the sport via the WOW, the WOW Woman of Wrestling project, which is mounting a televised comeback via Viacom in September 2022. This was announced. They had a big press conference. This was the biggest story to emerge from all of that. AJ is going to be an executive producer on the project. It'll be the first time that she's been involved in wrestling in any capacity since she left WWE. She retired, of course, due to cervical spine damage back in 2015. So she's back in the sport. She's obviously been very busy in her time away as well. She wrote her own book that was released. Crazy is My Superpower, I believe it was called, back in 2017. She's worked on comics. She's started a production company. She's been really, really busy.
Yes.
She's moved on from wrestling, but now she's kind of coming back into it. So there are some additional details here from Fightful Select. They have reported that Lee and WOW, or WOW, originally planned on meeting to discuss her role back in August. Now, there's no word on what exactly her executive producer's role is going to involve, but she's involved. It was reported earlier this week that Tessa Blanchard will be part of the talent roster. The Beast from their last run is also coming back, but they're still largely assembling the roster by the sounds of things. So WWW, too many W's. WOW, WOW has been off the air since 2019. That's when it last broadcast. It has severed its ties with its former broadcaster, Access TV. It's coming back. AJ's involved. Tessa Blanchard's on the roster. Good for AJ. I'm glad she's back in wrestling.
Things are changing a lot in the Punk household in the last
They
year
are.
and a bit, aren't they? Yeah, fantastic news. This I was a huge fan of AJ Lee when she was back in the WWE. Like you say, she's been so successful outside of the business, but she's clearly a very useful wrestling brain to have. Intriguing to see what they do with this new promotion. Like you say, one of the flagship signings, Tessa Blanchard, obviously an incredible talent. Issues outside of the ring without question, but inside of the ring, sensational. And just another example of this, Andy. It is a great time to be a wrestler.
It surely is.
But let us know your thoughts and fingers crossed. I mean, it's the old never say never thing, isn't it? I know, like you say, she retired because of injuries, but this is one step closer. It's always the thing of you're going to get that bug being that close to the business.
There is a note on this Fightful Select report talking about how at least one other promoter has expressed an interest in working with Lee if she's in the mood to expand her comeback. So, you know, if she's healed up and ready to go, it would be awesome, obviously. But she should do what she wants. She's a very successful person. So.
Indeed. Right, let's move on and talk about that big announcement from Tony Khan. It was teased ahead of last night's AEW Dynamite. A lot of speculation. And you probably guess what it is because we reported on it quite a few times. Shout out, by the way, to Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men Pro Wrestling Podcast, who got the scoop on this story all the way back on the 22nd of September. But yes, AEW revealing they are going to have a new Tbs Championship. Now, this is going to be in the women's division. There's going to be a big tournament to crown the first Tbs champion. That's going to start on the 5th of January, which is when Dynamite moves from TNT to TBS. The TNT Championship, as far as I'm aware, is going to continue, of course. Yep. And it's probably going to serve a similar sort of purpose. It may well be perceived as a bit of a mid-card title, but as we saw with Miro in the TNT Championship, and now moving on with like this of Sammy Guevara, it's a sort of sideways championship, more so in AEW than, you know, the IC title is compared to the world title in WWE, for example. But yes, we got promos from the likes of the eventual winner, Jade Cargill, Thunder Rosa, Ruby Soho, who'd be a fantastic first champion, of course, as well. All wanting, and Sky Blue, I shouldn't forget Sky Blue, who also wanted Thunder Rosa, who also wanted to get their hands on it. But yeah, it's sort of something we anticipated this, Andy, but nice to see them following through on it, and something that the women's division probably needs.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I tweeted about this last night about Tony Khan's big announcement, what it was going to be, and immediately I was like, oh, maybe a trios title, maybe a women's tag team title. Totally forgot about this report on the TBS title. So when it came out last night, I was like, oh yeah, of course. It makes a lot of sense. I think the women's division was really interesting when the NWA women's title was mixed in there. Gave some more people a greater sense of purpose if they weren't immediately competing for the AEW women's title. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of this tournament kicking off on the 5th of January when this bad boy moves from TNT to TBS. It's cool. It'll give the women something more to do. And Serena Deeb, for me, should be the first champion.
Oh yeah, that's a hell of a shout. And it basically looks identical to the TNT Championship, except it's got a bit of blue on it, and it's got the TBS logo. Love that, and love me a good tournament. So yeah, can't wait.
Definitely. Hangman Page is back.
Hey!
Appearing on AEW programming for the first time in 2 months. He was the Joker in the main event of last Dynamite. That's the show. I almost forgot the name of the show. What a silly boy. It was the casino ladder match. I almost called it the Battle Royale.
I'm getting confused. All the casino matches are crap. But I enjoyed this one.
This one got really, really great when Paige came in particular.
I thought people would have forgotten about him since
they've signed all these people.
Right?
How can goldfish-like human beings maintain two memories at once? But Paige came down. They delayed the gratification of him winning just long enough. There were some teasers from Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer, everything else.
Let's talk about that bump through the table. Sweet Jesus.
Yes, that was brutal. And then he did the buckshot lyric when he came in and wiped Lance out as well. He was popping Hangman Page. Climbed the ladder in the end. John Moxley falls off after brawling with Page on the top. Got the chip, got the title shot. Full Gear, maybe? Do we think?
Yeah, what's that, mid-November sort of time?
Yeah, it's like 5 weeks away.
I think it's really interesting, this, because they've done, you and Sid were just chatting about this in the office, they've done Hangman Page rising up the rankings a couple of times. You've got the intrigue of Kenny Omega sort of leaning on him going, let's not forget the last time you won a big, battle royale or a thing to get your world title shot. How that went for you, buddy.
Yeah.
The history, obviously. Look, I know a lot of people thought that maybe they would forget about this when the likes of Punk and Cole and Danielson arrived. Look, they can spin more than one plate. I think it's always been Page who has to be the guy, in my opinion, to take that title off Omega. But just because that happens and they've all had these really long title reigns doesn't mean you can't transition the title very quickly onto someone else. I think the reward for Hangman Page, who's going to have multiple World Championship reigns in AEW, let's not forget that, is him winning the title. And then for me, I'm biased, but I'd have MJF win that title in the next possible opportunity, maybe even the next pay-per-view that soon, maybe even a Winter is Coming if they do that again.
People say we're on the payroll from Tony Khan quite often, but I think you're on the payroll from Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Hey, it's just a shame he wasn't on the show last night.
Where was he?
I wish I could have seen him. I wish he could have been there to witness that brilliant beatdown of Darby Allin, who was attacked by some mystery people who...
It was really weird to see Retribution on the show.
We will never know. Slapjack is all elite.
Yeah.
We will never know the identity of all them, but yes, you can eventually transition the world title onto that, in my opinion. But massive congratulations, Hangman Page. Great to see him back on TV.
It's really good.
And what a year it's been for him. Wow. Ups and downs all over the place.
He's had a kid and stuff.
Yeah. Right, let's talk about Fish. Bobby Fish, that is. He is
Not
all elite.
Tintin.
Oh my God, Bobby Fish is all elite. I've got a load of these coming your way.
There is no place for those kind of puns, my friend.
Yes, very good.
Oh,
it was announced in the usual manner, like the Twitter post. He fought for the TNT Championship last night against Sammy Guevara. No one thought he was going to win it. He didn't. But Sammy Guevara retained, but they had an enjoyable match. Sammy Guevara putting him away with the GTH at the end of the match. Another brilliant and talented wrestler to be added to this AEW roster.
Yeah, he floundered in that match, didn't he, Bobby Fish? Picking up the defeats, but there we go. That's enough of those. Bobby Fish is a good wrestler. He's a veteran hand. He's 44, obviously. He's been in the game a long time. He's a skilled guy. Everyone knows what he's capable of, and you can never have too many of those. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do working with AEW's younger talent, particularly on shows like Dark and Elevation. He can bring people along. Maybe they can get him involved in some kind of coaching role. It's just a sensible signing. Not everyone they sign is going to be like world title CM Punk, Daniel Bryan level, Bryan Danielson level. Sometimes you need solid mid-tier guys like Bobby Fish, and that's not to discredit his skill. I think he's incredibly skilled, but it's going to be where he's positioned.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting to see if more people tune in to see him on AEW, or whether people think, this is a load of bollocks. I'm not watching this.
2 in a row in the same sentence.
Oh, baby! Love me some Fish puns. The comment section is going to be a nightmare today, especially after these Twitter questions. Let's move on to them. at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, we're going to get in touch with us. Wow, Shane starts us off saying, when it's finally time for Chris Jericho to retire, do you see him retiring out of AEW or going back to WWE for one final run?
I think he's going to retire in AEW. You never say never, obviously, and some people have said worse things and been forgiven and been brought back into the fold. Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But Chris Jericho has been extremely critical of WWE since he left the company. He seems very, very happy in AEW. He's a foundational figure in AEW, a formational figure in AEW. In other words, that are long and have multiple syllables. So yeah, no, I think he'll be there till he retires, and I think that'd be appropriate. The nostalgia of him going back to WWE would be pretty cool. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I see WWE trying to get him back, but like you say, he's really established himself in AEW now, and he's already cleared that path for him to transition back behind the commentary table full time if that's what he wants to do. Or he's got all the other stuff that he does, his music, his podcasting. I just don't see him wanting to go out there. But who knows? WWE going to be chucking a lot of money around, in my opinion, in the next few years. So it's going to be very interesting. But I mean, he's not going to be retiring anytime soon because he's good enough to knock out Junior Dos Santos, apparently. Former UFC heavyweight champion.
Quite the development.
Indeed. Eddie Zamhari gives us our second question of the day, saying, with NXT 2.0 building new talent and character gimmicks with the likes of Tony D'Angelo, Joe Gacy, and last night, Duke Hudson. It's a bit of an old question, apologies. Duke Bloody Hansen as a pro poker player gimmick. Which gimmick character do you want NXT 2.0 to introduce next? Eddie suggests a hacker that hacks the internet.
Ooh, bring back Solomon Crow. Whatever happened to Solomon?
Don't know. It's a shame.
Idea.
It's a shame.
Career really petered out.
Hi, Sammy.
Gangrel.
Different Gangrel.
Why the hell not? Why the hell not? You know, he's not a hot up and coming prospect or anything, but you know, he's fun.
And
He's,
WWE do owe him one for making sure that the Brood stuff he can't be on AEW.
Come on, Gangrel, come through the door. I mean, he runs his own wrestling school as well, so he could be good as a coach too. So you know, Gangrel.
I'm going to suggest something that's absolutely preposterous. Obviously, WWE would never, ever do something like this. What about some sort of bloody Crocodile Dundee gimmick? I don't know who you could give it to.Maybe, top of my head, whoever the guy is that wears the paper plate on his face?
T-Bar.
T-Bar, that one, yeah.
He's in AEW now. So
you can't believe that's actually happening.
Yep.
Call it a wrestling move. This is a wrestling move. James Warren gives us our final question of the day. He says, hi guys, what move or spot always got a cheeky bap from you? Mine has to be Matt Hardy doing a leg drop off the ladder, which of course he did in that match last night. What's some of your favourites?
Mine is something else that also happened like that. Sting's no-sell spots. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're a pop every single time. And now they're even better, now that he's 60-odd years old and he's had neck and spinal issues. When that guy pops up, it's even more mind-blowing. He's like, how could this superhuman old guy do this? I'm 33. I could never move that fast. It's incredible. I love it. The first time he did it in AEW in the Men of the Year match, it blew my wig clean off.
Yeah.
And I don't even wear a wig, so that gives you an indication of how hard I pop.
In terms of individual superstars, I would say I'm not a huge fan of hers. I think she's incredibly talented. But every time Charlotte Flair goes up to do that moonsault, I go, well, here we bloody go.
Someone's gonna get splashed.
Yeah, probably. Like I do love a good nut shot. I love a good or an eye poke. You know the classic heel, like one of them.
Serena Deeb last night.
Exactly. One of them, or obviously, I'm gonna go for the low-hanging fruit here, Canadian Destroyer, because it's Canadian Destroyer. How can you not?
Especially when an old man does it.
Yes, but mainly the thing that always gets a pop from me is a small person being thrown around by a big person. I love you, Wardlow.
Poor Marco.
Oh,
poor Marco.
He left the atmosphere for a bit.
I don't think he's come down yet. Like, poor guy.
More of that sort of thing. Or very quickly, one more thing. Family members turning on each other. I can't believe Dominic's going to turn on Rey Mysterio on Raw on Monday.
Can't wait for that Dominic Mysterio heel run.
He's finally going to get paid off an electric chair. King Dad on the run.
Take his other eye out. Go on, Dom.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And if the comment section wasn't spicy enough today, we're going to read a tweet from Joey Janela, friend of the channel, who says, the Joker isn't in the ladder match tonight. He tweeted this before the ladder match, of course. The Joker isn't in the ladder match tonight. The Joker is you, the fan, 40 years old, sitting in front of that $200 laptop you bought off Facebook Marketplace, arguing with a 17-year-old on Twitter about ratings. Who's the best champion? Who's jumping ship? What's real wrestling? Can't people just get along, Andy Murray?
He knows what he's doing. doesn't he? And you look at the replies and the quote tweets to this tweet, and you go, yeah, Joey Janela does know what he's doing. He's always been really tremendous at fishing, isn't he?
Yes.
Like when the Jelly Janela stuff comes up and Cornette goes off, he has fun with it and he bites back, but get worked by Joey, actually, because it's really good entertainment for the rest. I love Joey Janela.
Yes.
He's awesome.
But the thing is, I want to sit here and say everyone should be as positive about wrestling as Simon. He loves bits of Raw, bits of SmackDown, bits of AEW, bits of everything, right? I do also like poking the bear occasionally on Twitter.
It's stuff like this is fun.
We wind each other up in the office. I said the other day, wait a second, does that mean Tony D'Angelo's a bigger draw than AEW? Because on the numbers ratings, NXT beat AEW Rampage. Now, you tell me, of course, it's the demos, and I go, just plain ignorance, and go, but wait a second, 620,000 is bigger than 610 or
and
whatever.
it's funny because people will actually make those arguments.
Just
have fun! Have fun! Stop taking everything so seriously. Stop being weird.
You can spend time watching, like, good stuff, like other wrestling or Squid Game or something. It's great. Just do that instead of arguing with people on Twitter, you an idiot.
What's Squid Game?
Oh, it's great.
Is it fish?
Green light. Red light. I got some of you.
Pitbull.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all the big news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dally Boys sitting down to review the anniversary special episode of AEW Dynamite a little bit later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hangman.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.